all season. Jacob Bartley, the mic is yours.
So I always try to go with like a player that someone isn't really considering starting. He's either, on benches or maybe a flex play in deeper leagues. And for me, this week, that is Elijah Moore of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Gabe and I were relatively high on this guy coming into the season. And look, he didn't have a monster game. And that's kind of the point of this is that I'm not, we could easily go with someone who had a huge boom performance this week and try to predict that they're going to be consistent and have another boom performance.
But then
That's
they wouldn't be a
typically
surprise performer, Jacob.
absolutely. So that's where I'm getting at. And to me, look, Elijah Moore has a lot of things going for him. He didn't have an amazing game, but I do look, he had 3 catches for 43 yards on 7 targets. But he did have 2 rushes for 19 yards. I like the usage there. The thing that really stands out to me is that Pittsburgh got torched by Brock Purdy and by Brandon Ayuk. And I could see Elijah Moore having similar usage as Brandon Ayuk and kind of having a little bit of a field day with these Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think as a prospect, he was heavily hyped. And I just have felt, at least from my perspective, like the people who I talk to, the online places that I look, I just haven't felt the hype for Elijah Moore. And I get it. Like he went to New York and he had a few boom performances and he never really delivered on that promise on a consistent basis. But if you just remember all the stuff that was going on during that time, he kind of got put to the sideline. He was supposed to be the man in New York, and then they drafted Garrett Wilson, and then he didn't like playing with Zach Wilson, and there was some bad blood between him and the franchise. So they got him out of there. They sent him to Cleveland. And while I'm not saying, Deshaun Watson, I don't think he's going to light it up all year necessarily, but I do think he's going to have a good game against Pittsburgh. And look, Watson can scramble a little bit. He's one of the better at that in the league. And TJ Watt is there, and I know that's an issue, but I think Watson's scrambling ability will allow for him to escape a little bit and get the ball to Elijah Moore. So I'm feeling comfortable. I'm actually starting Elijah Moore in a flex spot this week in one of my leagues. And when I made my lineup decision this week, I did, and I'll give us, this is not a spoiler. This is just kind of, I mean, it's not a spoiler. I wasn't able to get him into our DFS lineup this week. Do you know why? Because they play Monday night. So maybe my matchup will come down to a Monday night miracle from Elijah Moore. Look, I'm not saying he's going to get you 25 points, but I think he can get you a solid 15 fantasy points this week going with Elijah Moore.
Man, the usage was there. He got the targets. They let him rush the ball a few times last week. I
like
mean,
that.
and people forget it was only 2 days ago. They were playing in torrential downpour. This game could have turned out much differently. I love the call. I love the play. I think there's a world. I don't know if we see it exactly, but there's a world where Elijah Moore could easily out target Amari Cooper. Yes, that could be the hot take I have here tonight at the end of the show. So, not a bad pick, Jacob. I agree with you. But what do you guys think? Let us know your comments down below. What do you think about Elijah Moore in week 2?